Are we live? Okay. Good morning, everybody. We are here at the Sacramento History Museum. My name is Jared. We have Howard here in the shop as well. I am typically Howard's videographer. I'm the one that films Howard for all of his videos that we have on social media, but because we're obviously both on the same camera, you're not seeing an illusion or anything. There's two of us here. Susan is helping us out this morning, manning the camera. And we are going to be talking today about somebody that we've been mentioning in a lot of videos. His name is Louis Winter, a man who was a woodcut artist and engraver here in Sacramento. We're going to talk a little bit about him, why we even have Louis Winter's collection here in the shop, and we're going to do a live printing demonstration of one of the creepiest cuts from his collection that we have in the shop, because it is Halloween season after all, and we are focusing on the more spookier side of history this month. So let's get started. Let's talk about this man, Louis Winter. This is Louis Winter when he's in his early to mid 30s. He was born in 1867. His parents were born in Germany. They came to the United States in the early 1850s, and eventually coming out to California in 1855 during the gold rush. His father was a blacksmith, and that might explain why much of his collection is cuts of blacksmith-related materials and farrier equipment. And he originally worked for Southern Pacific Railroad Company when he was 19 years old, but after a couple years, when he was 21, he took over C.H. Holmes' photography and engraving business that was at 627 J Street. Louis Winter became a very prominent woodcut artist and engraver and photographer here in Sacramento. He had submitted numerous materials during the state fair that were exhibited, and his collection, which we normally thought was somewhere around 100 years old, 110 years old. I should probably say that his collection, not all of it is here at the Sacramento History Museum. His collection is actually at the Center for Sacramento History, the archives connected to our museum. His collection involves photographs, manuscripts, diaries, journals, memberships that he had. He was a quite notable person in the community of Sacramento at the time. And his collection also included 25 boxes of woodcuts and electrotype cuts or cliches or copies of woodcuts that we've actually featured in a lot of our videos on social media. His cuts are very small. His collection was originally donated to the museum. How long ago, Howard? It was donated by
20 years ago?
It was donated to the Center for Sacramento History by Bill Gaylord, who was a docent here at the Sacramento History Museum, and one of the docents that actually helped train Howard here in the shop 22 years ago. So there's a special connection there as well for this collection. And these wood cuts and electric type cuts, we thought they were 110, maybe 120 years old at the oldest. But we found out that through research, I was doing research a few days ago looking at the California Digital Newspaper Collection. If you were interested in looking at old newspapers of California, check it out. And I found this. This was Louis Winter's advertisement for his engraving business, dated November 3rd, 1888. So now we're looking at materials that are 133 years old that we are printing here. That cut of a cat we printed about a month ago for International Cat Day. And the reason why we have all these odd cuts in our collection here, this advertisement says it all. This is a time when the newspaper, got an example of a newspaper of the time here, was just rows and rows of text. No images, nothing. Lewis Winter is telling business owners to get a woodcut from me, something that is strange, something that'll be eye-catching. People will look at your ad. They won't look at it if it's just a bunch of text. That is why Lewis Winter is creating some quite odd stuff. This is also an example from the collection as well. That was, this is an electrotype, or a print from an electrotype cut that we have in his collection as well. So, he's got some rather odd stuff in his collection, and I just think it is so fitting that he has this odd stuff that is also a little bit creepy, that we would print one of those. We, the royal we, Howard, will be printing for you today here in our print shop. So I think that's what we're going to do. Howard, take it away. Let's do some. You do some printing. Susan is going to film you.
We need to explain first that we're going to use a Washington hand press. This nice example, beautifully decorated, was made in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1852 by Charles Foster and Brothers. They manufactured printing presses and other things. Works just great, just as well as it did the day it left the factory. I've set up on the bed of the press the cut we're going to do. Is Susan going to go around the corner?
Yep.
Okay, hang on. Susan's going to get around the corner into position. This is actually two cuts, and I decided that as creepy as they were, if I printed both of them, you would really see what's going on. We'll just get a little ink here, just to make sure everything's inked up. Piece of paper to print it on, and this is just padding or packing that allows us to print. It also kind of protects those cuts that we're using, because we don't want to damage those. We don't use them a whole lot, but and it may look like I didn't use much pressure there, and I didn't. If I had this full of 2 pages of a newspaper, I'd be breaking a sweat trying to do the same thing. But that's what 20 years of experience will tell you, is how much to pull on it. And if I woke up in the morning and saw something like that, I would be freaked out no end. So that's some of the work that Lewis Winter did. Is there anything else we need to cover here?
So Lewis Winter, he was only in business from 1888 to 1910. He retired from his business, and he actually became the head of the art department at Sacramento High School. He taught art and wood engraving for over 15 years. He retired in 1926 and passed away in January 1930. And his collection lives on here at the Sacramento History Museum through our videos. And we want to thank you all for tuning in and watching us live today here at the Sacramento History Museum. We're open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, last admission at 4:30. We have underground tours on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And don't forget to follow us on our different social media channels and help us reach 2 million followers on TikTok, Howard. I can't believe we are fastly approaching that. Yeah. Yes. And thank you all for your support, and thank you for supporting and watching us here at the Sacramento History Museum. Have a good Friday, everybody.